We're going to take a look at the scrapped WrestleMania 41 card. Plus, we have the TNA backstage reaction to Joe Hendry's WrestleMania debut and pitched opponents of the mystery variety for Randy Orton at WrestleMania. It's all in the Cultaholic Wrestling News right now. WWE putting out a show very soon called WWE Unreal that's going to show you how wrestling is made, going behind the scenes in the script writers' room, and a few people are upset by this, but it's I love it. I compare it to like watching a documentary about a film.
I love documentaries. This gives me like Drive to Survive, but WWE, or Sunderland Till I Die, but WWE, or Welcome to Wrexham, WWE edition. This is going to be a very interesting look. It's going to be a very sanitized look, I imagine. There's not going to be anything in there that they don't want in there.
Oh, yes.
But it has given us a little look via the teaser trailer to what might have been the original plan for WrestleMania 41.
Yeah, so there's a shot where you get the writer's room and there's a big old whiteboard which has the WrestleMania card on it. And of course we've paused it. And of course we've enhanced it. And of course we've zoomed in.
Yeah.
And of course we've got what was meant to be the WrestleMania card right here.
It's like in any movie, we've enhanced.
Enhanced. And lo and behold, it was Triple H in the car park all the time. He did that to Shawn Michaels. It was you, Hunter. It's a deep cut. Now, the whiteboard obviously lists Cena and Cody for the title, and Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and CM Punk's triple threat match at the top. Also in the list is Randy Orton and Kevin Owens, obviously cancelled due to Owens' injury. AJ Styles and Logan Paul, which was in the works for a long time, and Rey Mysterio versus Chad Gable. That was changed last minute due to Rey's injury.
Chad was not in that match.
And Chad was not available, so he was replaced by El Grande Americano.
Yes, of course.
Now, there were matches on the whiteboard that didn't happen.
Yes, of course. Well, despite also previously being listed on the whiteboard in that match with Roman Reigns, there was also, for the World Heavyweight Championship, CM Punk versus Seth Rollins versus Gunther. There was also a Women's World Title match, Rhea Ripley versus Bianca Belair. No sign of Io Sky there. Women's WWE Championship, Jade Cargill versus Nia Jax, which Nia lost it a long time ago now. So it would be interesting to see how that one went down. There was also a big tag team match.
Yeah, Wyatt Six versus the Judgment Day. That was something we thought they were building to anyway, and then that whole story just fizzled out like a wet fart.
There was an injury seemingly at Bo Dallas, and then they moved to SmackDown. I'm kind of relieved we didn't get that match, honestly. Kind of relieved. It wouldn't have been a technical masterpiece, and I'm so glad we got the other options for the Judgment Day.
That's very true. We got there was set to be a women's tag team title match that would pit Io Sky and Asuka against Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch. Now, obviously, Asuka has been out with an injury for a prolonged period of time. Becky Lynch made a surprise return at WrestleMania. Charlotte Flair instead factored into the WWE women's title plans, winning the Rumble, facing Tiffany Stratton. But obviously, Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch have a very clouded history. There was there's been they've had a very real.
Are they friends or not? That's the question.
Yeah, they felt like there was some very real animosity that overflowed into storyline world.
Specifically, that moment where they had to exchange belts, that felt very, very, very real anger between the two. I would be intrigued though to see if the spot they would still plan to have a mystery return for Becky in that, if that was the match. Charlotte doesn't know who her opponent is, and out comes Becky. That would have been a cool moment to have it, and then you could have still had that little turn that Becky did.
That might have, you could have still had some. She turned on Charlotte?
I think she would have.
She'd be the biggest baby face in town.
I know, true, very true.
Remember when they did that many years ago and Becky attacked Charlotte and everyone went, "Way!"
She became the biggest thing in wrestling. Yeah, maybe. One match on this proposed plan that I'm hyped to see: Bad Bunny versus Dominic Mysterio.
Oh,
absolutely! That is a fantastic shout. A Bad Bunny in the wrestling ring once again would have been great to see.
There's been a couple of missed hits for Dominic Mysterio at WrestleMania because last year there was a lot of reports that he was going to face Brock Lesnar.
Yes, and obviously that was pulled for other reasons, but a match with Bad Bunny this year would have been huge. However, like I said, we maybe got the best case scenario for the Judgment Day because Dom winning that Intercontinental Championship, getting the moment where the entire crowd erupts for him, and then he runs back to the ring in what felt very unscripted, was so cool to see.
Yeah.
So deserved.
Delighted for him.
And he would have lost to Bad Bunny.
He would have, he would have most definitely lost to Bad Bunny. And Bron Breakker and Drew McIntyre. Now, that would have been intriguing.
That'd be tasty. That would be tasty. I think both of them could have put on an incredible match. Perhaps it's a little bit too early for that match. In my mind, Drew needed a win at WrestleMania, and despite Braun losing at WrestleMania, it wasn't him that got pinned. And one of them would have to have been pinned in that match if it was Braun versus Drew. But immediately looking at it on paper, you can see they've got big plans for Braun.
Oh, without a doubt. Now, Fightful reports the whiteboard that we saw in the trailer itself includes tentative preliminary discussed matches. Some people listed twice. WWE is aware as anyone about the possibilities of adjustments that occur, which is probably why we had the triple threat and the WWE title match listed there and different ones listed as well. One top WWE talent had joked late in the year that they were, quote, at the mercy of Dwayne, in case Dwayne either Dwayne decided or, as Dwayne said in his interview, if Ari Emanuel went, can you pop in?
Can you pop in? I'll be there, sort of thing. The big notable omission from that preliminary card is there's no Yeet on that card.
Distinct
there's no
lack.
Jey Uso. So it makes you wonder, when was this filmed? When was this bit of backstage discussion taking place? When was he planning to win the Rumble?
Well, this is it. Fightful Select have also said that there were strong plans in place for Jey to get a world title push, but according to what we see on this whiteboard, that certainly wasn't going to take place at WrestleMania. At least in the preliminary stages, that wasn't going to be the case, because you could have easily had like John Cena win the Rumble and face Cody that way, but obviously with Cena winning the Elimination Chamber instead, it opens up for Jey to win the Rumble, and Jey got Gunther instead, and then his world title reign began from there. Really, I can't wait to watch Unreal. Really intrigued by it. I know there's a lot of fans sort of my vintage who are very upset by the prospect of it. And I totally get it. I totally get it, because it's an industry that we have been so proud to have protected and guarded and loved and supported for so long. And now it's that they're blowing the doors wide open to it. And there is a little bit of like a cold uncertainty to that, because you go like, well, was kind of our thing for a long time. And now you're going to show everybody it, and it's going to open up new skepticism and open up to new criticism, and you kind of want to hold rank a little bit. So I totally get why people are. But I think at the same time, with anything like with wrestling, I've always enjoyed wrestling when it's inherently bollocks, and I've always taken wrestling with a bit of a pinch of salt, and there's always the rare occasion where I get got by stuff. I must admit that the John Cena win and the way that match went down really annoyed me in the moment, until I realised actually I think it was a crap match by design.
Yes, unfortunately that's what it was. It doesn't make it good, but it was seemingly by design. He's ruining wrestling, and he ruined the WrestleMania main event.
But you know what? I got.
You did.
I absolutely got. And it's rare that wrestling gets me. And so I don't mind seeing stuff like this in terms of, because I'm very interested in it. I work for multiple wrestling companies at the moment. Come meet me at Wrestle Carnival this Sunday. I'm making my debut at the Foley Invitational. Come see me at the HMV Empire. I work for lots of different wrestling companies like North Wrestling and Wrestle Carnival and Rise. And I like the behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah,
I'm intrigued to see how it's all put together.
So fascinating to see how it comes together. But you mentioned being got by wrestling. There is one moment for this WrestleMania that got me. That like, I couldn't believe what was happening in front of my eyes.
The Wet Wipes mascot just walking up and down the stands.
Dude wipes, yeah.
The dude wipes. Sorry, I mean that right there is an example of somebody who is quite literally a massive wet wipe. And Joe Hendry, I guess.
And Joe Hendry. The Joe Hendry moment was pretty damn cool. We do have some backstage reaction to Joe Hendry's WrestleMania debut. His main roster, like, although he was at the Rumble, like his big main roster spotlight, the thing that's going to be remembered. Fightful Select reporting that backstage within TNA, a number of them were asked about the length and the layout of Hendry's WrestleMania match. Then they said they didn't take much of an issue with it, as it was a good general online response. Instead, people within TNA felt that the match provided much needed exposure for TNA.
Absolutely. And when it comes to who that mystery opponent for Randy Orton was going to be, there were a few other names that were sort of suggested and fantasy booked in the run up to it. I mean, don't get me wrong, I've been saying Joe Hendry since Randy Orton said like open challenge. I was going, say his name, Randall Keith, you coward. And he didn't. He appeared. But then Nick Aldis was a name that was thrown around quite a bit. Solo Sikoa was a name that was thrown around. Sami Zayn was thrown around as well.
Rusev as well.
Rusev was thrown around.
Somewhere in there.
Aleister Black was thrown around as well. And according to Fightful Select, Solo and Black and Rusev, none of those names were considered. And it was kind of because they wanted to keep them away from a match for their return.
They'd have to lose.
There is that as well. You have to put someone in there that would lose. According to Corey Hayes at BodySlam.net, another TNA wrestling talent that was pitched to face Randy Orton was Jeff Hardy. That would have got a fantastic reaction also.
That would have also been a massive, massive pop. We know that the Hardys, whenever they return, they get a huge reception. They did it at WrestleMania 33. If Jeff had got another WrestleMania return at WrestleMania 41, that would have been crazy. I am glad they didn't go with it though, purely because Jeff doesn't need it. Because even though you'd be giving, again, TNA Wrestling some exposure at WrestleMania, people think of him as a WWE guy long term. Like putting Joe Hendry in there with the TNA World title, you can't do any better for that partnership.
Corey Hayes adds, I was informed that multiple names were pitched for Randy Orton's open challenge at WrestleMania, but Orton hand-picked Joe Hendry, as he is a fan of Hendry and his work.
And you could tell that based on how much fun Orton was having in that match.
He was having a ball, wasn't he?
When Joe came out and Orton looks around the stadium and everyone's singing and clapping and waving their hands from side to side, you can see he's like, okay, I chose right. This was the right choice to have Joe Hendry in here. What a cool WrestleMania Night 2 minus the main event. What a great moment for Hendry. I saw him on Man Like Doris's vlog, and he was like, I've just been in WrestleMania. I've just had a match. Let me get one thing straight. I was in WrestleMania, and I had a match against Randy Orton.
And also, look, let's not forget, congratulations to Randy Orton, who now becomes the linear TNA World Heavyweight Champion.
That is how it works.
Done, Randy Orton.
That is how it works.
Backlash main event is the last WWE champion versus the linear TNA champion.
I hope Randy Orton makes an appearance in TNA.
Oh, wouldn't that be nice?
Say his name in TNA and he will RKO.
I think it'd be nice just to have like Hendry maybe in a spot where someone's going for him, and then you just have an RKO out of nowhere.
Yeah,
boom.
be cool.
Cheers.
Be cool. Do it.
Sign off. Lovely. That'd be nice. Do it, you cowards.
Do it.
It's a pay-per-view this Sunday. Go do that. Go do that. For the very latest wrestling news at any time, you can check out Cultaholic.com. Stay safe. Love you. Bye.